Hello everyone and welcome, Spence here. Today I want to talk about CEDH versus EDH and where is the line? Where is that line? Here is a proxy commander of Tivit. Still waiting for my original to come through. Oh, my sleeve is damaged. It used to be my Oloro deck, as you can see. But yeah, still waiting for my actual Tivit to come through from Card Market. Ricky, if you're watching, get it sent please, mate. But anyway, talking about EDH versus CEDH. So, where is the line between a EDH deck and a CEDH deck? Now, I know there's a lot of talk about it's the mentality, it's the cards, it's the card pool, it's the way you win, that type of stuff. But when I say where is the line, I want to know what takes me from my Tuvasa casual deck to my Tivit deck. Like, Tivit is known as being a CEDH commander. Tuvasa is not known as being a CEDH commander. But this could still be CEDH power level, but maybe it's just not viable. Just like commanders in casual formats. Some are stronger than others, some decks are stronger than others, etc, etc. So where's that line? Like, if I build a deck and I put certain cards in, does that instantly make it CEDH? I have got some fast mana in here, in the form of Opal, Amber and Lotus Pearl. Yeah, I also have a Mana Vault, but I have no Mana Crypt. Yeah, so I'm not fully optimized. Yeah. I'm still running Soarings, I'm still running Signets. Yeah, and then the Talismans. Yeah, I still have, Farewell Stones, Thought Vessels. Yeah, but I also have tutors and combos with my commander. So if we look at the artifacts for a moment and we take away those, this is all stuff, maybe the Mana Vault as well. This is all stuff you would see in a standard EDH deck, right? So the addition of 4 cards makes it CEDH in terms of the mana base, or the mana ramp, the accelerants. So is that one thing that pushes it into the CEDH line? Like if I took them out, I'm then dropping that power level, so therefore less CEDH. But CEDH is all about playstyle as well. Like CEDH is you're playing to win. Yeah, you make the most optimal choices that you know how to make. You don't choose the, oh, this will be funny, I'm doing this for the lols. Like, which is why we run lots of artifacts. We do run lots of artifacts, but we also, run lots of tutors. So if we're running more tutors, so this is essentially a copy of any card in my deck that is the best way to win. This case could be Thassa's Oracle, or it could be Time Sieve, depending on what the board state is like. So does that as well make it more CEDH and less EDH? But there is plenty of EDH decks that run Time Sieve, run Wishclaw Talisman. So where's the cut-off point? What's the difference? And so yeah, it's this that I'm trying to understand, because if I want to make my Tuvasa deck, say, from, she's probably like a 7-8 at the minute. Every deck's a blooming 7, isn't it? So maybe it's more than a 7. Maybe it's like an 8. If I want to push this to like a 9 or a 10, is 10 just CDH? Or is it like 7, 8, 9, 10, after 10 is CDH? Or then is it, as time goes on and power creep increases, we're going to see more of a divergence in power levels of decks that we're constantly trying to balance and judge, and then CDH then just continues to be its own pool? Because let's just think for a second of like, what makes the CDH format the CDH format? Like, standard is standard and pioneer is pioneer and modern is modern type thing. But what makes them different is the card pools. Yeah? Otherwise it would just all be legacy, wouldn't it? You're using every card ever printed. So you've got a limited card pool in standard versus pioneer. Pioneer has a larger card pool. So you've got more cards to pull from, and you're more likely to pull the stronger cards to make more winning combinations. That way you get a new meta. Great. But that also happens in EDH versus CEDH, because CEDH optimized through faster mana, free counterspells, lower CMC on the deck. So while it's the same card pool that's available for both formats, it is a limited card pool for CEDH to be viable on that power level. So let's just have a quick look at removal. Like, if you look at all of this removal, here we are, cut down. By the way, cut down, absolute fantastic removal card. If you don't have one of these, it's great. Hits everything. Hits Esper Sentinels, hits Opposition Agents, hits what's the goddamn goblet that makes all the treasures? Forgot his name now. That's going to really annoy me. Yeah, mine's blank. Tell me in the descriptions. Yeah, hits so much stuff. Like, it's uncommon, it's cheap, go grab it. I think I have like 2 or 3 of them because I think too many people slept on this card. Swords to Plowshare, common, like, it's an uncommon, it's like just such a common removal spell that everyone knows about it, and like in CEDH type or higher power levels, the opponent gaining life if you're trying to combo off is absolutely insignificant. Let them gain 50 life, whatever, unless they're using it to do something broken with. Like, it doesn't matter because you're just going to combo off and then winning it all the way. Like Despark, Fracture, Mortify, Void Rend, Generous Gift. These are all standard cards that you could see in a normal EDH deck. So nothing about that removal package makes it CEDH. So counterspells. Yes, we're running lots of counterspells. I say lots. This is not actually a lot. 3, 6, 7. Yeah? You've got 2 that are potentially free, if you control your commander, I guess. And that's technically not free because you have to pay for it on your next upkeep. But you've got those. I've got like a Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is not a CEDH card. Counterspell is just standard. Arcane Denial just standard. Negate standard. Dome Veto standard. These are not anything in particular that make it CEDH. Like this. None of those cards are like crazy power level. Like, there's nothing off the chain that, okay, you could argue these, but like in terms of the majority, no, standard stuff that you see in Gex all the time. Same with this. These are some instant spells and interactions. So we've got Teferi's Protection. You see that in normal decks all the time. Angels of Grace. See that in some decks most of the time. Dark Ritual. I think that came in one of the Warhammer Precons, did it? Or was it one of the Warhammer Precons? I'm sure there's a Warhammer Precon version of Dark Ritual. And like, maybe it's the Necron deck. So yeah, it comes in a Precon. But it's a great card. 1 mana turns into 3 mana, so you're up 2. Mystical Tutor. This card's been around for ages, but it puts a card on top of your library. Most people don't. Somebody else has end steps themselves up the draw step. Here we are. Here are 2 cards which are less commonly seen in standard EDH. Demonic Consultation Ad Nauseam. Yeah? I don't know why. Like, Ad Nauseam is just a fantastic card. Get through your library, find what you want, try and go for a win. This is great in board stalls in normal EDH. You're playing around, combat damage, everybody's having a laugh. It's like, right, okay, let's try and draw this to a close. Maybe I've got up to 50 or 60 life. Let's just rip through 90% of my deck and just see what I can put together. So that could be completely casual. Yeah? I think that's the most expensive card in the deck, by the way, in terms of mana value, apart from the commander. But yeah, Demonic Consultation is obviously, it's only there as a win con, or if you're about to win on the next turn in like a high-end power level deck, it's to go and find your actual counterspell or something to stop somebody else from winning so you can then win on your turn. But yeah, so those are just like standard spells pretty much. Less so these 2, but these all are. So let's have a look at the sorceries. 2 tutors, play cards from other people's graveyards. Once again, draw loads of your library. This is just another version of Ad Nauseam. But this one sees more play in EDH than Ad Nauseam does, I would say. People somehow view this one as a more fair version. Whereas if I'm on 5 life, I can still draw half of my library. If I'm on 5 life, this is nothing. I can't cast this. Because if I rip off the top this, I am dead. You see? So this has more value the lower the life you get, and therefore is better. But obviously it's a lot more mana. 7 whole mana. And this is only 5. So, but still, it sees a lot of play in standard EDH. It sees more play in CDH. But do the same type of thing. Let's move on to enchantments. Okay, nothing major here. Nothing major at all. Smothering Tide. Everyone knows Smothering Tide. It's played all the time. Blind Obedience. It's got an extort. Yeah, it's just a soft stacks piece. Like things coming things going to play tapped. You know, Touch of the Spirit Realm. It's just a basic enchantment. Exiles something. Rhystic Study. Everybody knows. Mystic Remore. Everybody knows. These are getting so common. Not so common now, but more and more common. Especially with all the reprints that's happened around these. These are showing up in more and more decks. They were 30-40 quid cards, so maybe not the Mystic Remora, but Rhystic Study was a 30-40 pounds card. It's like a tenner now, something ridiculous. Like, which is great, you know, means more people can play it, means more people get more card draw, means more people are aware of paying the goddamn tax because it really matters. I almost get frustrated actually when I play this and then people don't pay the tax. And I've often said in playgroups, like, do you just want me to win? Are you not trying to, like, win the game yourself? Like, what is your aim by letting me draw more cards? Like, let's be real. Like, if somebody plays Rhystic Study and nobody pays tax, you know, and 6 spells are cast, you know, 6 cards for somebody, that's a lot. That's a lot. But yeah, all stuff you see in standard games, all normal EDH decks. Normal EDH decks. Nothing special about that makes them CDH. Same with all of these. Ledger Shredder, Fairy Mastermind, Esper Sentinel, Thalia, Archivist of Armor, Grand Abolisher, and Thanatos Oracle. They're probably less seen in normal EDH games, but that's just because stacks pieces are less seen in normal EDH games. Thalia you see sometimes when people are trying to be like a little bit more of a control game, like Azorius controls, Esper control decks, stuff like that. But yeah, also Archivist of Ogmar. I saw this a lot when obviously it first came out, but then it's relying on somebody tutoring, searching their library. Same as Opposition Agent, you tend to see these types of cards because people are going to be tutoring more in higher end gameplay, so that's why you see those. But yeah, like take out those 4. Everything else, just like Chrome Host She-Shark. Just cast a non-creature spell, make a shark. Why not? You know, Displace a Kitten, that's pretty common. Notion Thief, that's becoming more and more common in decks. That's a Deep Dwelling, that's in a boatload of decks. Absolute boatload. Get as a yacht, it's just full. So maybe there's 4 cards in the creature selection that makes that CDH. I don't know. Teferi Time Router Chase for the Mysteries. See these in normal decks. Mill Strategies, win cons, you know, control decks, as always control decks. Like, do they make this deck more CDH? I don't know. Like, then we've got lands, City of Brass, Command Tower, Fiend's Tower, Reliquary Tower, Maze of Ith, Castle Vantress, Cathalochlane, Brajuka Bog. All standard stuff you see in any EDH deck. Yes, there is 3 fetch lands. You know, you've got Floodstrand, Marsh Plant, and Iron Mesa. But other than that, Pain lands, Shock lands, Bounce lands, Basics. So, yeah, no, the last basic. So, this is obviously a higher power level deck, but I'm not sure personally if I would class this as CEDH. There is still a lot more you could do to this deck to bring it up to those CEDH power levels to get it the most optimum of optimum. That is what CEDH is about, right? So yes, as I was saying, I could drop the fast mana, you know, could drop the tutors, drop the potential free counter spells, maybe remove the Thassa's combo, you know. That's it. This would all stay the same. If my playgroup's not tutoring a lot, I could remove these. Like everything else, that's just a standard deck, right? That's just a standard deck. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards. So is 14 cards the difference between EDH and CEDH? Like, is that the difference between, like, going from a 10 level power commander deck to a CEDH power deck? I don't know. Are those cards on their own enough to take over the limit? Who knows? Like, because when I look at this, like, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's definitely pushing those upper limits. But it's also, I look at combos in my other decks, and this is what has got me asking the question. My Tavassa deck. So yeah, Tavassa, standard, basic, as I said earlier. But it runs a pretty nasty Walking Blister Heliod Suncrown. You know? I can tutor for that combo with a shared summons. You know? If I leave 5 mana open, you know, chances are I've got at least 9, 10 mana, you know, so I can cast this on somebody's end step, it's instant, fetch those two, and machine gun everybody down at the beginning of the next turn if there's no interaction. Like, I then also have sickening combos with Opalescence and Enchanted Evenings and Banished Marshals, so I can literally destroy my entire opponent's board, lands and everything. That's devastating. You know, Opalescence, Parallax Wave. I can literally wipe every permanent off the battlefield except my own. I've got tutors. Sterling Groves. And then Astrid becomes a copy of Sterling Grove. Mirror Maid can become part of Sterling Grove. You know? These are all some pretty broken combos and stuff that you can do within a non-CEDH deck. Yes, there's no fast mana, but the combos win outside of combat damage just the same as this would. Yet that is recognised as not a CEDH deck, and people will happily more play against this and that deck than this with this deck. And I think it comes down mostly, myself, to these and her. Or him. You know? Or they. And so I'm trying to understand that line. So when I build a deck, I'm not, because this deck is my baby deck, you know, like there's been a lot of time and I guess money put into this over a long time, good few years building this up, and I don't mind taking it all that way to higher power level stuff, because I like that interaction, I like the speed in which you can play games, and the fact that within an hour I can play 4 or 5 games versus playing 1. So it's like, I don't want to do this to every deck, because then I limit the amount of like player pods I can play in and the amount of people I can play against, because let's face it, the CEDH pool of people is probably less than the EDH standard pool of players at your average game store. Obviously it would depend on where you live, I guess. Like the 2 game stores I visit, there's only one group of people that regularly will play at least 1 or 2 games of CEDH when I go down to play. At the other game store, there's a couple of guys there that do it like probably once every 6 months type of thing. It's just let's just have a jam it out, see what it's like to live on the other side of the pond, you know, that type of thing. And so if I want to build a deck that's 9 power level, 7, 8, 9 power level, that higher, more optimized, efficient type of thing, so it's still in the realms of an upgraded precon but more effective, like, do I just have to not put fast mana in, not put tutors in, but then if I do put tutors in, it is okay to a certain standard but not to all standards? And so yeah, it's this balancing act between the levels that I just can't quite pinpoint the difference. And I didn't know if, like, really, if you guys out there can go, look at this resource. This is what it says. Because most of the stuff I find online is CEDH is about the card pool, playing the most powerful cards, you're playing to win, you know. It's mostly like with combos, except for probably the new Slicer deck that's just come out, which is now starting to mix things up, which I think is great. So yeah, it's just one of those things like where, like, if CEDH is the way that you play and using optimum cards, then obviously Tuvasa can be CEDH. But even though I have no fetch lands or shock lands and stuff in this deck, like, I can still play it to win. I can still be ruthless and cutthroat with it. Same with my Gishath deck. If I get my Dino out, I know normally when I play that I'll hit one person, then I'll hit the next person, then I'll hit the next person, you know. Or if I can't, then I'll just hit whoever can get the best attacking on. Whereas I know I can play that sometimes and be like, right, let's just play Dinosaur Smash, and I will just smash one person until they're dead, smash the next person until they're dead. So I'm playing that in a more optimised way to greatly increase the chances of me winning the game. So that is the CEDH mentality, but not with CEDH cards. So if I've got the mentality but not the cards, like, do I need both to be exclusive to CEDH? Or what happens if I play Tivit in this deck, but I make plays that are for the lols, but I'm still jamming out fast mana, and then if somebody blows Tivit up, it's okay, because I'll just Lotus Petal and everything next turn, and boom, 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 he's back out again, and I'll have the ability to do extra turns, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to, like, maybe do it if I can do something janky and then smash something for something else, you know? Maybe I want to, like, peer into the abyss and then ad nauseum afterwards and try and get down to the last card in my deck before I try and kill everybody or something daft. Like, I'm then playing a CEDH deck style cards system, but not in a CEDH play style? So does that make it an EDH deck? Or is it still a CEDH deck? I just don't know. I don't know where that line is. I don't know where the cutoff is. Like, it sounds like it should be so simple and so cut and dry of, yeah, you're playing these cards, therefore you're in this format. But we don't have that rule and distinction within EDH. And I guess it's got me thinking a bit about, like, Sorty's paradox, you know, how many grain of sand make a pile of sand type of thing. You know, and it's, if you start with 100,000 grains of sand and then you remove one, like, is 999, yeah, one less, can't get my words out, still a pile of sand, or just two less make it a pile of sand. And the same way if you go the other way, it's like, if one's a pile of sand, not a pile of sand, then two not a pile of sand, then three's not a pile of sand. So it's like, it's finding that, where's the cut-off point between a pile of sand and not a pile of sand? Where's the cut-off point between CEDH and EDH? Is it, how many of the fast mana cards can I put in a deck before it says CEDH? How many of the tutors can I put in a deck before it says CEDH? How many fast counter spells can I put in the deck before it's CEDH? How many, like, winning combo lines and control spells can I put in the deck before it becomes CEDH? If I just put one each of these in, is that CEDH? If I put two of each of these in, does that take it to CEDH? You know? If I took the fetch lands out, I know fetch lands are a trigger for a lot of people, but these are now more affordable than ever, so I recommend people buying them to help optimise the decks and the colour fixing. Yeah? But there's still lots of other cards that I'm using in this. Bounce lands. This is not CEDH, it's my bounce lands. But it is, because of this. Because of these. Because of these. Where's the cutoff, guys? Like, I just don't know. Like, am I just playing a Tivit CEDH style deck that's actually just power level 9? Or am I playing a CEDH deck? I don't know. I mean, there's no Lion's Eye Diamonds. There's no Jewel Lands. You know. Yawgmoth's Will. There's none of those crazy expensive cards. That's probably a couple of £1,000 just in a few cards I've named there. But do I need those to make it CEDH? Because if I do, I can't afford that shit. Magic's expensive.